Hey there everybody, welcome to my channel. My name is Kelsey. Today I'm going to guide you through a deep stretch yin practice that is meant to be very relaxing. It's great to do if you have been really active recently. Maybe you're feeling a little bit sore. We're going to just focus on restoring our nervous system to equilibrium, restoring our body to equilibrium, and repairing any parts of the body that feel a little bit tender or like they need some extra love and care. So we're going to get started in a hip opener in star pose. So basically it's a butterfly pose, a little bit wider variation of a butterfly pose. Soles of your feet together and knees apart, and widening your heels a little bit further away from your groin so that you have more of a diamond shape in your legs. And then a couple of options here. You could just walk your hands out in front of you and rest your forearms on top of your shins or just ahead of your shins, depending on how far down you want to go. Or you could thread your forearms underneath the shins and the calves, palms face up. And so this is a nice bit of pressure for the forearms, softening through the fingers, and then allowing your spine to round, let your head be heavy, and begin to connect with your breath. Once again, doing this practice with the intention of relaxing, releasing tension and stress, stretching out sore muscles, and so with that in mind, if you are feeling especially sore in any particular area of your body, you may find that you don't need to go as deep to feel the sensation that you're looking for, to feel the release of tension that you're looking for. In Yin Yoga, we're not trying to push ourselves past our edge or pull ourselves deeper into a pose than the body is ready for. We're just trying to soften into each moment, allowing the pose to unfold over time. And letting the mind quiet down, giving the mind a bit of a break during this practice. And so if you've had a lot to think about recently, and taking this time for quiet and stillness. Take another breath in here, and let that exhale go with a sigh. Begin to lift your head. If you had threaded your arms underneath your calves like I did, unthread. Press into your hands and slowly help yourself come back to upright. head over heart and heart over hips. Take a moment to sit in upright and feel the release of the pose. And then I'm going to turn to face the long edge of my mat just so it's easier to see. We're going to come into a seated side bend, and so really you could be in any cross-legged seated position that works for your hips and your knees. So maybe that's crisscross applesauce, something like Sukhasana, just crossing the right leg in front of the left. Maybe it's something more like Siddhasana, where you're staggering your heels in front of one another, widening the knees out and letting the knees drop down towards the ground. Or you could overcross, crossing your right knee on top of your left knee for a variation of Gomukhasana. In Yin, we call this Shoelace. And you want to just make sure that your heels are equal distance from your hips. So instead of one heel maybe coming in closer and one heel going further away, just trying to make sure that the heels are going an even distance away from your hips. And if you need to sit on a pillow or a blanket, you're welcome to do that here. With the left leg on bottom, we're going to lean over towards the right. So I'm going to grab a block and bring it over to my right side, and then just lean over, placing my right elbow down onto the block. I'm going to release the weight of my head towards the right. And your left arm, you could keep it alongside your body, maybe bring it behind your lower back here. Eventually, you could see how it feels to reach that left arm up overhead, softening at the elbow, letting the hand rest behind your head. Just being sure that in this side bend, you're not rounding forward. You're really trying to open along the front of the chest, even feeling as though you're leaning your left shoulder back. And if for any reason having your head hang heavy here is causing too much pulling in your neck, I like to bend the right elbow and let my head rest onto my right hand, so the head has a little bit of support. And so in this variation of shoelace, we're really able to get into the left side body, not just the left hip, but bringing that stretch up to the waist, the side of the ribs, and even the shoulder. Settling into your breath rhythm again. Remembering that in these yin poses, we want to be as still as possible, only really moving if the pose invites us to move deeper, or if we need to take a brief break. Otherwise, being still, trying not to fidget. One more breath in here. Next, exhale, pressing down through your right hand and right arm to slowly return back to upright. And then you can uncross your legs, maybe sending your legs out in front of you, leaning back on your hands. And it could just feel good to stretch the legs out, or you might like to alternate the bends of your knees or tick-tock your toes side to side. We're going into that same side bend, but on the opposite side. So this time, instead of your right leg being in front or on top, making sure that your left leg is in front or on top. So again, crisscross applesauce, Sukhasana, Siddhasana, or left knee stacks on top of the right in Shoelace. Getting grounded through both hips, adjusting your feet so that they're equal distance away from your hips. Either placing your left hand beside you or leaning over onto the support of a block, bringing the left forearm and elbow down, releasing the weight of your head over towards the left. And options for your right arm are letting the arm rest alongside your body, bringing the hand towards the lower back, opening in the front of the chest a little bit more, or reaching the right arm overhead, bending at the elbow, just letting your hand rest behind your head and being sure to lean back into that hand and that shoulder. Always having the option to have the left hand supporting the left side of your head. Slow and steady breaths, anchoring your mind in the present moment. One more breath in. Exhale, release, pressing down through your left hand and left arm, returning to upright. Once again, it might feel nice to extend your legs out in front of you, maybe leaning back on the hands for a moment. Any movements that feel good to you are welcome here. Just feeling the release of the pose. From here, make your way around into a table pose, and we're going to move into a low lunge dragon pose. So if you have blocks, you can bring them underneath your hands, or you can just keep your hands down on the mat. If you don't have blocks, If being on your hands and your knees causes any pain in your knees, then you can either roll up your mat so that whatever side of your knee you're leaning on has a little bit more cushion, or you could grab a blanket or a pillow and place it underneath the knee. We're going to step our right foot to the outside of the right hand, and then start to let the hips sink forward and down into our dragon pose. So even though our arms are doing some supporting of our body weight, we really don't want to be pressing the floor away, softening into the support of your arms, maybe even letting the shoulders creep up towards the neck slightly, releasing the weight of your head. Big stretch for the front of the left hip and for the inner thighs. And this is definitely one of those poses that as we're in the pose for longer, it starts to feel a little bit more intense. And so this is great practice for quieting the mind. The mind usually tends to want to distract us during moments that are uncomfortable, plotting ways to get us out of the uncomfortable situation. But as we practice staying present amidst any discomfort, we build resilience, which can then help us off of the mat in any of the activities that we enjoy. The last several breaths here, deepening the breath, softening a little bit more if you can. One more breath in, and exhale. We'll take a brief counter stretch, shifting the hips back, flexing back through the right toes, straightening the front leg, and walking the hands back for something like half splits. A couple of breaths here. And then we're going to move into swan from here. So walk your hands forward again, bend into your right knee, heel toe your right foot over to the left side of your mat. And then drop your right knee down behind your right wrist. So the knee is going wider than the width of the hip. Your left leg is going back behind you. And then you have the option to stay here on your hands, or you can lower down to forearms. If you have a block, you could put the block under your head. If your hips don't come down to the mat, you could put a pillow or a blanket there. Or you can stay lifted on your hands today. And then reach back, bending your left knee, holding on to your left foot with your left hand, and using your right hand in front of you to stabilize yourself. So this is getting more into the quads. Breathing in a way that feels supportive, remembering that you can change your mind at any point. The closer in your left heel is towards your body, the more of a stretch you're going to feel. And if you've been taking the quad stretch, only here for a little bit more time. If you feel like releasing early, you can. Coming into a more traditional swan pose instead. One more breath in. And exhale, start to release, lifting your head, coming onto your hands. Tuck your left toes, walk your left knee back in, and then it might feel good to stretch your right leg back, tucking the right toes under. Maybe moving your hips side to side or around in circles. You could also take a brief downward dog. Any movements that help you feel like you're releasing and you're getting the blood flowing again. Returning to hands and knees, table pose. Moving into our low lunge, our dragon pose on the left side now. So step your left foot to the outside of your left hand. Walk your right knee back as needed. Remember that you can fold up your mat or bring something underneath your right knee to pad it. If you have blocks, you could have them underneath your hands. Otherwise, softening into the support of your arms, letting go of the weight of your head. Breathing into this big hip stretch. If wrists start to become tired, bringing your fists to your mat, or you could lower to your elbows if that's available in your body today. One more breath in. Exhale, shift the hips back, straighten the front leg any amount. Take a counter stretch, flexing back through the left toes. Feel the release in the hips. Move into swan from here, shifting the hips forward again, heel toe, left foot over to the right side of the mat. Dropping your left knee behind your left wrist, making sure the knee is going wider than the width of your hips. Right leg is reaching back behind you, either staying here on your hands or maybe lowering to your forearms. Option to have a block underneath the head if you have one. A blanket or a pillow under the hips can feel nice as well. Or you can take the quad stretch variation, bending the right knee, reaching back with the right hand for the right foot, and using your left hand in front of you for support. Softening into your hips. Using the props that you have in the way that feels most supportive to you. The closer you have the heel towards the body, the more intensely you'll feel this. Going to your edge. And if at any time you change your mind and want to explore a different variation of swan, allowing yourself to do that. Just a little bit left here. About 3 more breaths. One more breath in. Exhale to release. Coming onto your hands, lifting your head, moving any props that you were using out of the way. Slide your left leg back into table. And again, option to extend the left leg back, tucking the left toes, stretching into the calf, the ankle, maybe taking your hips side to side or in circles. Maybe a brief downward facing dog. Stretching out the legs, getting the blood flowing again. With your next exhale, lowering your knees. From here, we're going to come on to our backs for the rest of the practice. If you have a strap, you can use it in this next pose. We're coming into cat pulling its tail. If you don't have any props, don't worry. Just find the variation of the pose that is appropriate for your body today. So coming down onto our backs, starting in constructive rest, just allowing the back body to relax into the mat. And then we'll start by coming into a twist. So draw your right knee in, extend your left leg long, bring your right arm out beside you, and then guide your right leg over to the left. So this might be where your edge is today. Or you could bend your left knee and grab a hold of your left foot with your right hand. So kind of similar to what we were doing in swan, if you took the quad stretch in swan pose, but it's the opposite hand going to the opposite foot instead. And then if your hand can't quite reach, but you want to explore the bent knee in the twist, then grab your strap, and you'll use the strap in a loop, making sure that you have the strap belted. Placing the loop of the strap around your left foot, and then placing the rest of the strap over your right shoulder, and tightening the strap as much as you need to here so that you're still getting a nice stretch in that left quad, but you're not having to use your right hand and your right arm. And again, right leg goes over towards the left for the twist. The final option that I'll give you here would be to extend your right leg and grab a hold of your right calf or your right ankle or foot. But I'm not going to be taking that option today. But if you have it in your body and you're interested, you're welcome to go there. Settle in at your edge, your pose. One more breath in. Exhale. If you straightened your right leg, bend the right knee. If you were holding on to your left foot, whether it was with your hand or your strap, unhook the strap and let go of the left foot, extending that leg. Roll back towards your mat, back into constructive rest. Take a few breaths to feel the difference between your right side and your left side. Notice any differences, any distinctions. And let's set up for the second side, extending the right leg, bending the left knee in towards your body, and then starting by guiding it over to the right for the reclined twist. Remembering that if this is where your edge is today, this is a great place to be. No reason to push ourselves further than what our body is comfortable with. But if you do want to explore the quad stretch, you can bend your right knee and either grab a hold of your right foot with your left hand, really grounding the left shoulder down towards the floor, or grab your strap, placing the loop of the strap around the top of your right foot, and then backpacking the strap over your left shoulder so that your left shoulder stays grounded, but you're still getting the support for the right foot, bending the right knee. And then the last option is to extend the left leg, but again, I won't be taking that option. You're welcome to if that is interesting to you. Settle into your breath on this side. Let go of any holding, any effort. We really want to be holding these poses in softness to get the most out of the pose. Take your final breath in this twist. Exhale. If you had your left leg extended, bend the knee. If you're holding on to your right foot with your hand or your strap, let go. Extend the right leg and roll towards your back again. And we won't be needing any props, so if you had any around you, move them out of the way. Take another pause in your constructive rest pose. Sense the release. And we'll end our deep stretch yin practice with happy baby, or in yin we call it stirrup. Starting by drawing the knees in towards the body, widening the knees apart about the width of your shoulders, and then just thinking about drawing your thighs down towards the sides of your ribs. So you could hold on to the front of your shins, or you could hold on to the backs of your thighs, or maybe somewhere onto your feet, kicking the soles of the feet up towards the ceiling, and then letting the arms be heavy, letting the shoulders be heavy, to bring you into this happy baby pose. Only using the effort that's necessary to be in the pose, letting go of all other tension. One more breath in. Exhale. Start to let go of whatever you're holding on to. Bring the legs back together. Bring your feet back down to your mat. Notice how your body feels. Allow for any other movements or poses that you think would help your body feel complete in this practice. And then we'll set up in Shavasana, our final resting pose. I have a bolster nearby, so I'm going to place that underneath my knees, extending my legs and making sure that the bolster supports the knees. This just allows for the pelvis and the lower back to rest at more of a neutral position. And then arms resting beside you. Release the weight of your body into the support of your mat. Take one more breath in. Sigh it out. The next time you hear my voice, we'll come back into this space and close the practice together. Until then, enjoy this time of rest and Shavasana. Remaining just as you are, start to bring your awareness back to your breath. As you feel ready, wiggling fingers and toes, wrists and ankles. Maybe eventually taking one more big full body stretch, stretching long. Breathing out, letting it all go. When you feel ready, roll over to one side, any side. Press your way up to a comfortable seat. No hurries. I'll meet you there. Sitting up nice and tall one more time. Reflecting on your practice in a positive light. Sense gratitude for yourself for choosing this time to take care of your mind and your body. And with that sense of gratitude in your heart, bring your hands in front of your heart, Anjali Mudra, closing with one chant of Om. Wherever you are with your breath, release the air, empty out. Take a breath in through your nose and exhale to chant. Om. Thank you all so much for sharing your practice with me today and allowing me to guide you. I hope that this practice has served you well. I hope that you're feeling great in your body and in your mind. And please leave me a comment down below letting me know how this practice went for you. If you have any questions or if you have any suggestions for future classes, be sure to subscribe and like this video. I put out a new class every single Sunday, and I hope to see you there again in the near future. Namaste.